This is the all-new 2021 Ford Bronco, quite possibly the most hyped car of 2020 and certainly the most anticipated off-roader of recent times. And why is that? Simple. The new Ford Bronco gets it. It gets what people want, it gets exactly what type of car it wants to be, and it understands how to actually reimagine an icon, which is something the new Defender, for instance, failed miserably to understand. Let's start with one of the main aspects that make the new Ford Bronco so awesome: its design. See, the nameplate Bronco carries a legacy to it. The Bronco was Ford's first SUV and it was fairly successful in the 80s and early 90s. It was also made relevant in pop culture by a certain police chase in LA, which was reportedly watched by over 95 million people.
On June 17, 1994, O.J. Simpson became the most famous fugitive on the planet.
So Ford knew they had a monumental task redesigning the Bronco, and they didn't mess it up. They took inspiration from the first-gen Bronco because even though the later cars are more popular, when it comes to design alone, nothing beats the iconic first-gen car. And it worked. The new Bronco does such a phenomenal job of blending 60s styling with modern tech. My favorite part will have to be the front-end design when it's coupled with a certain grille. Then with the wide arches and the Sasquatch pack, everything just fits. It's really good looking. Then there's the second aspect that makes the Bronco awesome: the price. See, the new Bronco starts at just $30,000, and when you compare it to the Defender's starting price of nearly $50,000, the Bronco's price is almost a steal. Granted, Ford had to price the Bronco while keeping in mind the Wrangler, which starts at $28,000, and obviously most people won't go for the base model Bronco, and they will add options to it which will bump up the price. But even still, I went to Ford's website and spec'd what I'd consider to be the ideal Bronco for myself, and it was still less than the asking price for the base model Defender. That's right, a well-spec'd Bronco costs less than a base Defender. And yes, the Defender is a very capable vehicle, but there's nothing one can do with it that they can't do with a Bronco. The Bronco is clearly an immensely capable car. And that's a great segue to my next point, which is the Bronco is purposeful. This looks like a proper off-roader should look like because it is a proper off-roader. You can spec this thing with massive 35-inch tires, have a bunch of first and third-party customization options. It has ground clearance and suspension travel for days and insane approach and departure angles. This thing will tackle anything you throw at it and ask for more.
And all Broncos come standard with terrain management systems with up to 7 available GOAT modes. So whether you're going through snow or rocks or dirt or sand or mud or water, the Bronco has you covered at the click of a dial.
And it will do it while looking very cool, although in most other scenarios it's very impractical. And that takes me to my next point. Ford wants to treat the Bronco name as its own brand. That's why you see Bronco in the front and not the Ford logo. And Ford understands that not everyone wants extreme off-roaders with enormous tires that you can't park anywhere. Most people want something a little more tame, a little more livable with. And that's why they came up with the car I haven't talked much about in this video, the Bronco Sport.
Bronco Sport is ready for whatever adventure you decide to take on, because it was built for that. Built with a cargo management system that allows for not just a lot of cargo space, but the smartest use of cargo space.
See, to the general public, the Bronco name is associated with cool off-road ruggedness. And with the Bronco Sport, Ford is offering a small part of that to the masses without diminishing the Bronco name. And that's genius. You see, when Land Rover designed the new Defender, it had to make it comfortable, modern, safe, practical, and to an extent luxurious. But the downside of having those attributes is that they often clash with the intended off-road nature of the vehicle. Just stop to think about how much better the Defender could have been if there were two distinct versions of it. One extreme version with everything thrown at it to make it the best off-roader it can be, and one tame version to make the groceries run easier. And that's what Ford did with the Bronco Sport. And of course, the other benefit of that is that in one move, Ford was able to take the fight to not only its obvious competitors, the Wrangler, the Defender, and so on, but also the slew of compact SUVs that have flooded the market in recent years. And now to my last point. The Bronco is just fun. This just seems like a fun vehicle. It's got wild color options, an optional manual gearbox, GoPro mounts, and trail maps you can download into your infotainment system.
Trail maps that allow you to not just find a new trail, but document all the details of that new trail. And once you've completed it, you can share it with whoever you want.
You can take the doors and the roof off, and yes, you can do that with a Wrangler, but the prototype car had doors with holes in them. Like, why? Because it's fun. Like Doug DeMuro said in his review, you get the impression that the people who designed the Bronco were having fun, and that is reflected in all the little gimmicky features of the car. Obviously, not everything is perfect. For example, as of right now, the engine options are limited to a turbocharged 4-cylinder and a V6. There are no diesel options, and you just know there's gonna be that odd guy who wants a big V8. Rightfully so, I guess. And also, just like with the new Defender, but to a lesser degree, this thing is stuffed with cutting-edge tech which may or may not break after some time. But given the choice between Ford's or Land Rover's reliability, I know which one I'd go for. Now, I know this video makes it sound like I'm the biggest Ford fan of all time, but I'm actually not. They did a good job with the Bronco and they deserve some praise for it. They didn't, however, do a good job with their other horse, which I plan to talk about in a future video. But in the meantime, let me know if you don't agree with something I've said, and remember to like the video if you enjoyed it and dislike it if you didn't. And until then, this has been Mark 6 and thanks for watching. Jesus Christ, that was hard. Oh, it's almost 17 minutes, not that bad.